pressure off the edge, and it's intercepted. D'Angelo Pond, roll out the big red carpet, touchdown Indiana.
It's time for the big red carpet. Here's your host, Rhett Lewis.
Here we go, fellow Hoosiers. Welcome. Great to be back here with you. You know, just following another ho-hum 50-point win at home in front of the fans, in front of a fantastic environment and atmosphere at the Rock. As Coach Cignetti has said now multiple times, it is great to be a Hoosier. Welcome. Rhett Lewis here with you. Big red carpet off and running. Hat tip Guy Haberman. Thanks as always for hitting the nail on the head with this show. We've got multiple ways in which Indiana continues to roll out the big red carpet, both offensively, defensively. So much fun to be had here watching these games, breaking them down afterwards. Just finished watching all the tape from this one. And yeah, I mean, like, just I'm gonna give you a couple of superlatives here that just kind of tell the story of where we're at. Okay. Don't ever take this for granted. Okay. I feel like I'm Billy Madison with the guy, the kid who's in like kindergarten. He's like, don't you ever pulling his cheeks, take this for granted. You stay here for as long as you can. 8-0 in consecutive seasons. 14th straight home win. Guys, I won 16 games total in my 5-year Indiana football playing career. In the last 2 years, they've now won 14 straight home games. Third longest active home streak in the country in FBS football. 9th win by 30-plus points since the start of last season. That is the most in FBS. And I think you've all probably seen, there's been posts on X and social media stuff going around with just the craziness of this streak and the way that Indiana just takes care of business, methodically putting opponents' faces in the dirt, right? Just beatdowns, just dominant performances. That's what this was, again, against UCLA. 56-6. And in doing so, in that dominant fashion, snapping what was a 3-game win streak for the Bruins. Remember the messaging from Coach Curt Cignetti? We got a 3-0 undefeated UCLA team coming to the Rock. And boy, did these guys get that messaging. And they played from the jump, right, like it was the national title game. And that messaging is so crucial from Curt Cignetti. The buy-in from the players and the staff is so crucial, and it's just so apparent when you watch them play. A couple other things. Second conference win by 50 or more points this season. The 4th Big Ten team in the last 100 years to win multiple conference games by 50 or more points in the same season, and the first to do it since Ohio State and Michigan did it in 2016. Like, that's where Indiana football is right now. That's what this man has done. Wow. I just, sometimes hearing it, it just kind of blows your mind. 3rd time this season and the 4th time under Curt Cignetti that Indiana has scored at least 35 first half points. Wow. It's just insane. So all of that is to say that the train keeps running, right? And it keeps rolling, and it'll roll into Maryland this week. And we'll get into the Maryland breakdown. We'll talk with Nathan and Peter a little bit about what they have, what they saw, their observations from this week. And with that, let's get into some of the breakdown from this game. But I want to start on the defensive side of the ball, because what Indiana is doing on defense, we're just not seeing it across maybe Ohio State, but outside of Ohio State, you're just not seeing dominance on the defensive side of the ball, the way that Bryant Haines' unit continues to operate. I mean, it's simply incredible. Allowed just 201 total yards, and they've just allowed 6 touchdowns this year. Did not allow a touchdown in this game. Was a pair of field goals that UCLA put up on the board. So with that, I want to set the tone by hearing from the head Hoosier here, Curt Cignetti, in his appreciation for what Bryant Haines has done with this Indiana defense. Let's hit it.
I always thought he'd be coordinator material. Right after the 21 season, I think, I elevated Bryant. And he just, did a tremendous job. And now you see it. He's a football guy. So not only is he good at the X's and O's, And his philosophy is to attack. He wants to attack offenses, but he's a great teacher. He's a great teacher for the linebacker, very detailed. And I can't say enough good things about Bryant Haines.
I would agree. Can I second that wholeheartedly? Hat tip to Bryant Haines, who has just continued to find ways to put these players and the personnel that he has in the best position to make plays. They attack, they attack, they attack. That is such a key phrase from Curt Cignetti, describing the way that Bryant Haines operates with this defense and the way that they buy in to the scheme, to the game plan each and every week. I had a post out on X right now, and it just it showcases one of the forced fumbles and fumble recoveries in this game for IU. You could just see the waves of crimson. Right? Just continuing. First guy misses, there's another guy right there. Like it's just, and they swarm to the football. And it starts up front, with guys like Tyree Tucker and Mario Landino and Hosea Wheeler and the guys in the middle. And then obviously on the edge, Stephen Daley coming on, playing bigger role with Kellen Wyatt out. And obviously Mikhail Kamara. I still think there's more out there for Kamara based off what we've seen from him. I think Coach Cignetti alluded to that today as well. But it's just so, they are suffocating. And they just attack. It's such a relentless display of physicality and tone setting demeanor. It's just, it's overwhelming, to be frank, if you're on offense. So the first play was a sack, right? Of the game. First play is a sack. Play 2, Stephen Daley wrecking ball off the edge. And then here comes Aidan Fisher, who comes up and then instinctually sees that it's an RPO look, right? So the Nico Iamaleava is going to pull it from the RPO. So he's going to take the run away. He's not going to hand it off. He's going to pull it. He's going to throw it quickly. And you see Fisher reading the quarterback's eyes, understanding his keys, understanding, what his instincts are telling him, what his training has been telling him, the reps he's been taking, the game plan. He backs out, steps right into the passing lane, picks that ball off, and Indiana's got its first pick 6 since 2024. Just a phenomenal start to this game. Defense set the tone in such a big way. Plays run, drops the pass, comes up, makes that play. That was just awesome to see from Aidan Fisher. I do want to get into his injury here a little bit. It didn't happen on that play, but on play 3, right? First play of the next series for UCLA, you could see he comes in, loses his balance, trying to fight off a block, falls backwards. He does seem to grab his left knee, the one that was without the sleeve, like the full length kind of sleeve. And I was kind of wondering if that's where something happened. He did have a little bit of a bandage on that knee. 3 plays later, it's a third down. He's rushing. It's incomplete. And then you can kind of see him start to favor the leg and comes back off the field. Play 7, he comes back in with a knee brace on. Play 9, he's in a Tampa 2, tracking a middle receiver up the middle of the field. And he ran with that receiver all the way down the field. Looked okay doing it. But then the very next play, it's a third down, and that's the last play we see him there. You can see it just kind of hobbled a little bit, and then that was it from him, and turned it over to Isaiah Jones and Elijah Hardy for the rest of the game. Did see some Caden Turner later on in the game, and some of the other guys, some of the other depth pieces getting in there and getting some valuable reps, which I think was really good to see. Good news, though, from Curt Cignetti today in the press conference. He would classify Aidan Fisher as probable. And with that, yeah, sigh of relief for that. No, there are a few players on this team more vital to a unit and a team's success than Aidan Fisher is to these Indiana Hoosiers, no question. So great to hear that everything looks good for now on Fisher, and imagine we'll see him if as long as there's no setback in the week of practice. So getting back to the defensive side breakdown, thought Dominic Ratcliff played some good snaps in this game as well. Lined up next to Tyree Tucker inside. He actually kind of comes around the edge. He had a big TFL early in the game, some good awareness. They tried a trick formation with 4 offensive linemen early in the game, and Indiana just destroyed it. Awareness and then physicality. Took it completely out of commission, which was awesome to see. Again, the layers of Crimson defenders. so hard to run against this team. They fit so well. They attack. They cause so much disruption. And then the linebackers make everybody right on the back end. And then you get Lou Moore and Amari Farrell and Boykin, who I'll get to, I think had a really nice game, maybe the best game he's played so far this season. And they're just always around the ball, right? And that's why, if one guy does end up missing a tackle, it doesn't happen very often, the next wave of defenders is there. And it's just so cool. There's a screen that was blown up with just great awareness and flow to the football. Another tackle for loss blown up by Mikhail Kamara and by Stephen Daley. They kind of sandwiched to the carrier, to the ball carrier, which is fun to see. Tyreek Tucker with this stack off of a stunt, offensive line couldn't handle it. Tyreek Tucker is an NFL player. I think coming into this season, he's kind of just a first, second down type of player. But he has shown that he can stay on the field in third down. He can impact the passer. It's going to be so valuable. He's going to play on Sundays in the NFL. Boykin could fill in a run play, like stuck his nose in, real physical. I got it here bolded in my notes. Boykin showing up a bunch, coverage downfield, comes in on a blitz, has a near pick. And probably should have had an interception. It might have gone for 6. He was making physical tackles. He was almost had a tackle for loss in the run game. And then he does get the interception with really good coverage on Quasi Gilmer, who's a good player. So I thought Boykin might have played his best game. So that was great to see. Now, look, there were a couple times that Nico Iamaleava is a really good player. He's a physical and elusive, very athletic runner. And I thought that got him a couple of times. He broke some tackles. Probably could have been 2 or 3 more sacks in this game, if not for Iamaleava being a tremendous athlete and getting out of that. And Ndukwe, got to see him a little bit in this game. I had a couple of plays where he kind of flashed, had a nice inside pathway on a stunt on some of those defensive line games. It was kind of fun to watch him, start to wet his beak a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. Again, with Kellen Wyatt out for the next couple of weeks at least, indefinitely, as far as we understand. I thought that was fun to see. Pons had a heck of a break on a ball late in, I think it might have been third quarter. He ended up getting a PBU on what might have been a touchdown pass if he doesn't break on it and get his hands on it. That was on a 4th down, so it ended up being a turnover on downs. And then we start to see some of the depth come in. Hello, Byron Baldwin. Welcome to the party. Boy, he was a bat out of hell from a nickel spot to make a tackle. Very next play, he's fighting through blocks on a quick throw to a wide receiver. He ended up with 6 snaps in this game. He looked the part to me. That dude is physical. He wants to hit. He's got great length. Again, true freshman, still very much getting his wings underneath him after missing the first part of the season with an injury. But that's going to be a fun piece for Bryant Haines to work with if he's able to kind of continue to stack, get a better understanding of what's being asked of him. Again, this is the first time we've seen him play all year. So I thought that was really cool. DePape had a good rush on the right tackle, good push on the right tackle on a pass rush late in the game. So a couple of things there, young guys kind of showed up in a couple of ways, got some valuable reps in these games, which again, when you're playing in college football playoff world, which Indiana is doing now, like you don't really get the benefit of those bowl game practices. The time frame is condensed so much that you don't have a month in between your last regular season game and your postseason game. I think this team has got its sights set on the Big Ten championship game. So December 6th, and then, depending on whether they get the bye or not, might be back playing again in less than 2 weeks from that time period. Now, if they do get the bye, then, you're going to have some time to get some work in for some of these young guys. But again, just valuable reps in these blowout wins for some of these players, these young players, to get an opportunity to show you what they can do maybe for the future and ways in which they might be able to help down the stretch. I think that's really valuable. We haven't done it enough here on Big Red Carpet, but I want to give some love to the special teams units, coordinated by Grant Kane. I think has done just an incredible job with the tight ends and then what he does with all the teams. Coach Mack does a great job helping him as well. They have a great tandem. I think the specialists have been phenomenal. Frankie looked like he got hurt a little bit on the first kickoff, kind of slipped or something happened. But I know Coach Sig said before his press conference ended that he'd be questionable heading into this game. So hopefully we can get him back, because that's a that's a kick return eraser. I mean, like that thing is a touchback every time. Now, we did see a couple of kickoffs taken out of the end zone after Frankie left the game. And that's where I want to give some love to Clay Connor. Clay Connor is a guy that goes down on kickoff and just sticks his face in the fan. And I love seeing that. He's a young DB, doesn't get a lot of time on defense, if any, but makes a mark. Man, he's run down on 50 kickoffs, which again just tells you how much Indiana scores, right? So he's got plenty of experience in these kickoffs. Now, and a lot of them aren't returned, but a couple of them were in this one, and he had a couple back-to-backs. He was the first one in on a kickoff, and kind of stuck his face in and help bring the returner down. And then on the next kickoff, he actually gets down there so fast he actually draws a block in the back. So set the UCLA offense back because they got penalized in a big way on that kick return. So shout out Clay Connor, way to keep getting in there. And look, I think even if it's a returnable kick, I think teams are going to see that on tape and they're going to be like, no, we're just going to wave it off, fair catch it, and just put the ball at the 25, live to play another day. Like that's how good Indiana's kickoff team has been. Punt team, same. And then how about the punt safe team? This was kind of an interesting scenario. UCLA decides to run a fake, knowing that IU is in punt safe, right? Not the traditional punt return look. Like they were in punt safe. I think they thought because it was going to be a fake punt reverse, maybe reverse pass, that even though they were in safe, they could still run it. That obviously did not prove to be the case. Amari Farrell tracked it down immediately. He tried to throw at it, then allowed a couple of other guys to come in there and ultimately make the tackle and turn it over and keep UCLA from, some momentum there on a play like that and extending the drive. And so that was a big piece of that game. I thought John Brady's been great on punt returns all year long. I thought he had great patience on one of his returns that actually netted a pretty good gain. He caught the ball, and it's almost like he took a breath, right? Almost to allow the coverage team to come in just a little bit closer so he could kind of make a move that actually meant something. So he's not just making a move on air and then get by that first guy and then go on there and just kind of shoot it and trust your blocking. I thought he's done a great job all year long. He's been secure with the punt returns, and that's obviously number one. You want to end the play with the ball, and he's been able to do that. And then he's had some big ones, obviously, already this season. So those are great pieces of value for a team that's going to be in some much bigger games as this season goes forward. And I'm telling you, to be able to rely on special teams that way is really, really crucial. Okay, with that, let's get to the offense. Charlie Becker getting some reps in early. LeBron Bond got in there early. Saw him, kind of showing up in the run game, sticking his face in and trying to dig out a linebacker. But Becker had a catch early. He's going to be a player, man. I'm telling you, he's going to be a player. I think he had an opportunity for another catch. It didn't end up going his way. It was obvious that, Omar Cooper and Elijah Sarratt were kind of a focal point, wanted to take those guys out of the game. So again, here comes EJ Williams stepping up with a 100-yard game and 2 touchdowns. This is the best 3-man receiving core in the conference, if not the country, right? I mean, sure, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, pretty dang good at Ohio State. I don't know if they got 3 that can go like Indiana does, and maybe even more than that, right? If they really need it. But those guys have been healthy, and they've just been so good, and they've got such great chemistry with Fernando. It's awesome. I think Sarratt's production, obviously was a little bit down, did catch the touchdown. I want to get to that because I thought the play design was awesome. But he hit a back shoulder that would have gone for like a 20-yard gain that ended up drawing a pass interference penalty. I thought he'd have caught that if not interfered with. He did have a drop that kind of felt like in tight coverage, a catch he normally makes, but not worried about that. It is more of an aberration. Rarely happens, right? Man, one of my favorite plays of the game, second quarter, Roman Hemby, pinballing off tacklers, just spinning, physical, keeping great contact balance. 16-yard run that gets you down, I think down to about the 13-yard line from the 29. So it was a great, kind of high red zone run. He gets down in there. Indiana ends up scoring on the drive. They were 6 of 7 in the red zone in this game. Just incredible. A couple other plays that I really liked. The play design on the Sarratt touchdown. Go back to that. So on the right side, right, going into the south end zone, you've got EJ Williams and you've got Sarratt kind of lined up in an offset stack. You've got EJ Williams on the ball. Sarratt is lined up off the ball to the right of Williams, and it looks like they're in man coverage. UCLA's in man coverage, which is bad news for the guy that's covering Elijah Sarratt, because he's about 7 yards off the ball, or 7 yards. He's getting 7 yards of cushion. The ball's at like the 1.5 yard line. And so all Sarratt has to do is just kind of break inside off of EJ Williams, who's running straight upfield, and basically just kind of curl into the end zone, about a yard into the end zone. Fernando hits him right away. It's, one of the easiest touchdowns you'll score. It's just great play design, great anticipation of what the coverage was going to be, and then really good execution from Fernando, from EJ, and obviously from Elijah Sarratt to put that thing in the paint. Thought that was really cool. A couple other run plays, man. Riley Nowakowski had another couple of blocks in this one that just make you smile. He lifted number 99 defensive tackle from UCLA up off the ground on what kind of looked like to me like it was a wham block on a play you'd see normally on like a trap call. I really didn't even know how to really describe what the scheme was. It was just really cool because there was a pulling guard as well. And then you had, I think it was, was it Hemby? I think it was Hemby. Might have been Kalon Black. I think it was Hemby. Hemby broke off him. Doesn't matter, right? It was really well executed, well blocked, and ended up being a touchdown for Indiana. Drew Evans doesn't get enough credit. Man, that dude is a physical son of a gun now. I'm telling you. His physicality shows up, especially like when he's coming off a double team or contributing then to a double team. It's really fun to watch. So I think this is third quarter. He's got a 2-play sequence where he just erases one of the second level linebackers from UCLA after he comes off of a double team, and then absolutely, you just lose sight from the end zone copy. You lose sight of number 9 from UCLA, the linebacker. He just disappears off the screen. And then Hemby has a great hole to pick up some big time yardage. Then on the next play, right, Evans again, he comes in and contributes to a double team, right? So he's got a one of his, I think it's Coogan is engaged, and then you got Evans coming over, getting just a nice little full rack of ribs of the defensive lineman, just putting his shoulder in, and just breaks open a gaping hole. It was a big time play. Big time sequence from Drew Evans, who is a physical player in the run game and is a big reason why Indiana is so dominant in the run game really all year long. Fernando Mendoza's mobility shows up again. That scramble was fantastic, right? He sees it right away. He knows once he can get the edge on the closing defensive end, he's already got this thing tucked and he is headed for the end zone, and he gets there. That mobility again to get you out of trouble and to produce yards is just such a big deal for this team. All right, a couple other notes that I have on the offensive side. The EJ Williams long touchdown. So that's a scramble drill. Like EJ is running a deep crosser. He sees Fernando kind of roll out to the right, and EJ's crossing to the left side of the field, right? Crossing the opposite way from which Fernando is rolling. So he then understanding awareness, where's your quarterback? He sees him. He understands what his scramble rules are. Turned back towards the direction that the quarterback is scrambling to, and made an easy pathway for Fernando to make a terrific throw. It's a high degree of difficulty throw on the run, and it's just a no doubt touchdown, which was awesome. So that's those things, those little things, right? Scramble drill awareness, just understanding the game, understanding rules that you work on every week, but sometimes you don't end up using them. You end up using them in this case, and it ended up being a huge play, an explosive play, and a touchdown. And was the EJ ends up getting 2 touchdowns in this game because of it, which was awesome. Then you get Alberto comes in, and he comes in and takes over in the third quarter. So again, valuable reps that you get for your backup quarterback. For Kobe Martin ended up getting carries in this game. You end up getting the young receivers in. When you blow out teams like this, there are other benefits to obviously just winning the game, and getting some of those younger players valuable reps down the stretches is really important. So that was really cool to see. One note for you guys, Pat Coogan will join me on Under the Hood with IU Football, which comes out each and every Wednesday. So really excited to talk to Pat. Haven't got a chance to really spend much time with him since he joined the Hoosiers this year, but has been such a joy to watch at center, and can't wait to spend some time with him. So that's what I got on that front. Let's talk Maryland here briefly. Look, they're let me give you the rat poison. Okay. Indiana 4-0 in road games versus unranked teams under Curt Cignetti. Maryland, meanwhile, has lost 42 straight conference games versus ranked teams since beating NC State in 2010. They are 0-36 versus ranked Big Ten teams since joining the league. Maryland has not beaten an AP top 2 team since 1955 when they beat UCLA 7-0 at home. They've lost 14 straight since. It does not matter. It does not matter. Do not buy into that. This Maryland team is talented. Mike Locksley is a really, really good head coach. Terrific recruiter. He's a guy who's won the Broyles Award. Has been one of the top assistants in college football. Is a really, really smart offensive mind. I know Pep Hamilton very well, the offensive coordinator. He is as smart as they come. Game planning. They're going to put their freshman quarterback, Malik Washington, in a good place to find success. Now, it's going to be difficult for him, no question. But they will have a good plan. They're coming off a bye week. So it'll be an opportunity now for Maryland to kind of figure this thing out. And look, they're playing at home. They got nothing to lose. They're trying to get to bowl eligibility, and I think it'll be a good game. But obviously Indiana, if they do what they have been doing in these types of scenarios, they'll leave with a win. But they got to go out and do it. They got to go out and execute it. These wins, as fun as they've been, as somewhat boring as they've become, right? Don't say that. Strike that from the record. They're not boring. They're extremely exciting, but the expectations now are that Indiana just wins these games. But you got to show up and do it. And that's what's been really cool to see from Coach Sig is the messaging continues to be on point. It continues to resonate with the team. The buy-in is at an all-time high. And I imagine that it'll be no different this week against Maryland. I was at the Purdue-Rutgers game this last week, just quickly around a Big Ten. It was a close game. It was one of the closest games of the conference. Ended up being a last-second field goal win for Rutgers, breaking a 4-game losing streak. Purdue now in a 5-game losing streak. But Barry Odom has got his team playing well. Like they're close. They're close. They just haven't had the breakthrough that they need yet. But it's not getting any easier for them, obviously. So they got to figure it out. But look, I think Rutgers, these are two tough teams. Like the toughness of their head coaches always serve them well. Purdue will be better. They just weren't on this day. Rutgers, again, wouldn't be surprised if they find themselves in a bowl game. That's just kind of the way that they do. They keep chopping there with Greg Schiano. So that was just kind of cool for me to see that game in person. I am on the Minnesota-Michigan State game coming up this week. So second time seeing Minnesota, third time seeing Michigan State. Obviously, Indiana beat Michigan State 2 weeks ago. But two teams that need a win after losing this past week. Ohio State was on a bye this last week, so they get back into action this week. And then we'll just have a better feel for the conference as we get into November, kind of see where things go. Iowa, dominant win for the Floyd of Rosedale over Minnesota. So I'm going to go back and watch that game this week as well and just kind of get a better glimpse of where teams are as you try to assess who that fourth team is going to be. Nebraska, USC this week. That'll be a fun one, right? USC, maybe they're that fourth team. Iowa, maybe they're that fourth team. Maybe Nebraska after they came back and beat Northwestern. So a lot left to be decided, after Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon have kind of established themselves as that upper tier. And then who's next? Right. And so that'll be the fun of November, certainly. But Indiana has to continue to take care of business to remain in that upper tier. Okay, Peter, Nathan, guys, anything that you saw from the game, anything that is kind of on your mind that you want to hit here with IU football?
Yeah, right. I want to start with some bit of Indiana defense here. I was really impressed with how they handled Nico Iamaleava. I mean, go back to the start of the season, one of the struggles that Indiana had was containing these more athletic quarterbacks. They've had a lot of chances against them. Different quarterbacks going all the way back to Colton Joseph, faced Aiden Childs more recently. More in there. And Nico comes away from this game 13 for 27, a season low passing yards, but you don't even get the impression that it was his fault. It's just what Indiana does to you. And it's just a testament to the growth of this defense.
Yeah. And look, they'll see another quarterback that can move this week at Maryland. And, they'll probably see one that can move at Penn State too, with Grunkmeyer. And so I think relying on that experience with some of those quarterbacks, I think that Old Dominion game really helped this team. right? I think it kind of, helped them see where they could potentially be vulnerable with a very good athletic quarterback. And I limited Nico to 28 yards on 7 carries. Obviously the sacks come into that too. He had a couple decent runs, but didn't really hurt IU. Ended up throwing the 2 picks. So, I think it's, to your point, just been really impressive what IU's done and how they continue to make up for the loss of Kellen Wyatt. I'm just telling you, that's a big loss because he was such a versatile player, allowed Bryant Haines to do a lot of different things in terms of coverage, simulated pressure, the way they could work in the run fits with Kellen Wyatt. And Stephen Daley's a really good player, a little bit different. So you can't quite just plug in, and do the same types of things. But again, seeing some of the depth emerge, I think was really valuable in a game like this. What else you got?
Yeah, so Mendoza post game said he was like Sarratt double teamed, Omar Cooper double teamed, and you give me EJ Williams 1-on-1. He's like, it's not going to be too good for the opposing team. So obviously great to see him step up again. But how impressive is it to put up 56 points with your 2 best guys putting up 8 yards total?
It's insane, right? It's insane. Like, how many teams can say that? How many teams can sit there and say, you took away, look, for most teams, you take away the number 1 receiver and you keep him out of the equation and you're going to have a hard day at the office, right? UCLA was able to take care of business against the top 2 receiving options. And then the third guy goes off. So it's like, well, pick your poison, man. Pick your poison. Is that the route you want to go? And then you want to start taking those guys. And what happens is, because they've Elijah Sarratt and Omar Cooper have established themselves so well, if they are getting double teamed, that's another guy that's out of the run fit for the defense. So that's, again, so I thought it was really good to see the rushing totals get back up there to where, kind of close to where they had been early in the season, because that just shows you, like, okay, fine. If that's how you want to operate, we'll either run it straight down your throat or we'll throw it out to John Brady. We'll throw it out to EJ Williams. We'll throw it out to Becker, Bond. Like, there's just more depth. And I think that paints a picture of, what this could be like next year as well. Right. Because, Elijah Sarratt will be gone. Maybe Cooper's gone. I know he's last year for EJ Williams. So you're going to need some of these guys to be big time players, coming into next year. So the fact that they can establish themselves right now, I think is a big deal. But yeah, it was great to see EJ get that 100-yard game, first career 100-yard game, and first career 2 receiving touchdown game for EJ Williams, who's been in college football for like 5 years now. So I thought that was really cool perseverance. Great points by both you guys. You guys have been awesome. Thanks for cutting up the Coach Cignetti soundbite. And I just think just so fortunate to have, Brian Haines, Mike Shanahan, Grant Kane, all the coordinators, these assistant coaches, this staff. I'd give every one of them the Broyles Award for the best assistant. They've all got their position groups playing really good football right now. And they're coordinated at an elite level. And then obviously the messaging from Coach Cignetti continues to be absolutely top notch. Don't see any reason why it won't continue. But again, got to go out there and do it. And so looking forward to watching the Maryland game this week. So with that, we will leave you here for this week. We appreciate you. Continue to reach out to us on YouTube. I'm in there. I'm in those comments, replying to your comments. And so it's a great way for us to have a conversation. Get out there on Spotify, wherever you watch your pods, download, subscribe, rate, leave us a review. Let us know what you want to see, what you're not seeing. And we'll try to accommodate all of that. But again, thanks to Galen and Crimson Cast and the Back Home Network for keeping Big Red Carpet rolling here throughout this season. Can't wait to continue to roll this magical ride with you guys. So with that, I'm Rhett Lewis, and we will catch you next time.